Skipping ain't easy, but it's necessary. I be getting weary, cause shit be getting scary. But sit back, relax, and don't you dare worry, cause I be hitting wrongs with a righteous fury. Yes, sir, see, I am the only one. My name is Josh Dunn, gonna have some fun telling the truths y'all can't handle. I might raise a scandal as I dismantle the fake, make them quake and make them shake. I make you bend, but never will I make you break. Just chill, yo, and don't be frightened. Open that closed mind, it's time to get enlightened. Welcome everyone to Gimpin' Ain't Easy, episode number 21. Holy cow, if our kid was an American and episode numbers were years, they'd be ready to drink. And I'm stone cold sober, so I don't know how this is gonna go. This week, as always, we're brought to you by Charlie's Club, where most shots are $2.75 on Tuesdays, so even if you make some real bad choices, you won't go broke making them. This week we're also brought to you once again, as always, by Cafe Sempuel, where you get a wide variety of treats and drinks for insanely low prices, and you'll see me in there. I'm mostly trying to read, so please leave me alone. Sometimes say hello, but no lectures or debates, please. Our guest likes lectures. I don't know if the mic picked that up, but anyway, maybe she can go there and listen to some of the folks that I can't. Oh, I'm so terrible. We're also brought to you this week by Sketchy Asian Glasses Companies. Yes, that's right. For $12, even I can see living on welfare. This week, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with speaker and author extraordinaire. She's kind of a rock star. She's got a lot of pep, a lot of spunk, a lot of funk, and no junk.
No.
It's, ladies and gentlemen, Victoria Levack, usually goes by Vicky. How you doing today, Vicky?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on, Josh.
Oh, thank you for being on. Thank you for being on. So, I like to start out with everybody. What was life like for the young Vicky? Where'd you grow up?
Life for young Vicky. Let's see. I grew up in a small town of 2,500 people in the valley. It's called Berwick. Don't feel bad if you've never heard of it. Most people go, I have no idea what that is. But I went to a very small school at first we only had 500 students, and it went from grades primary to 9. So that's how small the school was. Good old Vicky didn't have a lot of independence until she was 10, which is when I got my power chair. Teenagehood was very difficult, as being a teenager is for everybody, but having a disability and looking different didn't exactly help me, I think. And then I went to college, got really sick, moved back home after a stint then I was going to rehab to get better, and then I wrote a book, and then I moved to Levack in this facility we're in right now called Arborstone, and I mean, it does leave a lot to be desired, but it's better than the alternative, which was living with my parents. Not that I don't love my parents, but who wants to live with them when you're in your 20s?
Right, so you feel you're able to attain more independence at Arborstone than with your parents?
Yes, just because, well, for one, we have a accessible public transit system, which we didn't have in Berwick, but also just more opportunities, especially in the disability advocacy field. Everything's happening here.
Right. How do you find Accessibus as a service?
I'm glad it exists. It's much better than if we didn't have it. That being said, there are a lot of improvements they need to make, which is why I'm very excited that I was just appointed to the Halifax Accessibility Advisory Committee as their vice chair. So I get to do that for a year. And hopefully make some changes in terms of accessibility in the city, because it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's really bad, especially in winter, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, luckily we had a good winter this year, so it wasn't so bad.
So I think you'd say that your adult life is definitely like better than your childhood, eh?
Oh yeah, childhood sucked.
Yeah.
Anybody who's like, these will be the best years of your life, they're lying to you. It's like the worst years of your life. And if you can get through those, then, things will be better. Because you know yourself a lot more. Even, I know myself a lot better now than I did even 3-4 years ago. So, I can't imagine what it's going to be like 10 years from now when I'm like, remember when I was 28 and thought I knew so much crap? That girl was an idiot. Like, because that's how I feel now. Like, looking back at my 18-year-old self, I'm like, I knew nothing. Yet you think you know everything. So
Right.
I'm excited to see how I change as the years go by.
The more you know, the less you know, but still you know more somehow, and you get wiser, hopefully.
Or in my case, you just give less of a shit about things you used to care about and sort of sort out your priorities. Like, I used to really care what people think when they look at me, and now I don't.
Yeah, that's a good place to be in for sure.
Yeah.
Still, for me, I think it depends on the day, whether.
Oh yeah, everybody's got days. But for the most part, I'm just gonna do my crap and hopefully make the world less of a shitty place. Or if I can't do that, then at least leave it the way I found it and not making things any worse.
Yeah, and not make things any worse. And that's a big part of what I think we're supposed to be here to do, is to try to make the world a little bit better if we can, for passing through kind of thing. So I was going to ask you, what is it meant to be an author to you?
Well, I mean, I've only published one novel, so I guess technically that makes me an author, but I haven't felt like an author in a very long time. That being said, it's one of my things I'm most proud of, the fact that I've published my novel, or novella, I guess, if you want to get technical. And I wrote it because I had just gotten back just quit school and got to the rehab, and I needed something to fill my time. I needed a purpose, and I was very lonely, and I wanted a boyfriend, and I didn't have any, so I was like, I'll just make one. So I made one and put it in a book, and now you can buy it for $2.99 on Smashwords, and you should do that because it's good. But don't read it to your kids. Just don't.
It's great, folks, but it ain't meant for kids.
No, it is not. If you're gonna look for it on the website, you have to turn off Safe Search, or it won't show up.
Right, because of its adult content?
It's porn.
Yeah.
I'll call it what it is. It's porn.
And that's different from your fan fiction, isn't it? Or is that the same thing?
It's the same. The way I write it is essentially the same. The only difference between my fan fiction and my novel, of course, is the fan fiction is established in a preset universe, and the novel is obviously 100% of my own making in my big old brain.
Right. Do you find are you more proud of that, or is it the same kind of feeling?
It's the same for me. I mean, I wrote that book when I published it when I was 24, I believe. So it's been a while, and looking back on it now, I think I've become a better writer. But for a first novel, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, no, I think as we progress, we do become better. I'd sort of lost it for a while, so I thought I wasn't going to be able to do anything, but that's not the case. I'm back on the games, but also as a writer, you're also quite a speaker.
Yes.
How is that different, would you say, than writing?
Well, this figure stuff, this is going to sound kind of pompous, but I don't really have to prepare or think about it.
Right.
Because at least the way my speeches have worked thus far is I go in, say, here's a topic, that I'm wanting to talk about, whatever it is. Whether it's regarding my sexual life or disability in general, or those are the two things I've sort of given talks on. And I just go in, say, ask me anything, and they do, and then I answer them. So you can't really prepare for that because you don't know what they're going to ask in the moment. And I really like that because if I write something down as a speech, I'll just be reading it off the page.
Right.
And I have a learning disorder that makes it hard to track words with my eyes. So I'll constantly be slipping up because I'll keep losing my spot.
Right.
And so it's easier for me just to... I can think about stuff, but really in terms of prep, it's all mental. When you're writing a book, it's all physical as well. You have to physically write it down and then edit it and all that stuff. And with the speech, you don't, at least the way I've done it thus far, you don't really have to do that.
Right. Yeah, like I've seen you. You're pretty quick, and when my brain is working properly, so am I. So I can relate to that, and just sort of rolling with the punches and sort of reacting to what happens. And sometimes I think if you have things written down and you're stuck to the script, then you can't be as flexible or as dynamic, right?
Yeah, or I know when I do a written script, I sound fake.
Right.
Because I'm reading it off the page. So it may be honest, but because I have to read it like this, it sounds fake.
Do you find your hands and or fingers get like sore from typing and stuff like that? Or?
Yes, but luckily, thank you, Apple, because I have Siri and my iPad now. I dictate everything with my voice.
Okay.
So I don't even really have to type anymore. So that definitely has made writing easier as well.
Yeah, I gotta learn some voice dictation. I just have a 2008 iMac that's still running somehow by magic, and I type things out. But
sheer force of will.
Yeah, I can't believe it too. With all the porn I've looked at, like how could that still be running?
I don't know, man. How do you not have several viruses on there right now?
I think the computer is like too old for the viruses that are going around
Possibly.
now. So
Possibly.
Shutting down, yeah. So, would you say? I know you've talked about some other things, but is the bulk of your speaking focused on sex and sexuality?
I would like it to be. At this point, it is not.
Okay.
But that is my ultimate goal. Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because you seem really passionate about that. So
I am.
So I guess with that in mind, I have to ask, what does sex mean to you?
See, sex is different for everybody, but for me, I would say I define sex as any intimate act with yourself or a partner that brings you sexual pleasure. Now, when most people think of sex, they think of penis and vagina. But for some people, either because of their sexual orientation or because of the way their body works, you're not going to get the penis and the vagina. So they have to do other things. That doesn't mean they're not having sex. So I think we have to broaden our definition of sex in society, which is why to me, again, it's any act with yourself or somebody else that brings you sexual pleasure.
Right, so it's pretty broad-based.
And I think it has to be. Like, look at the spectrum of sexualities. Mm-hmm. Everybody's into something, so I think the broader we can make it, the more accepting it will be to society at large.
With that in mind, well, first of all, I should say I agree. I think it does need to be broader because I think just the same way of just having sex or missionary position can be pretty.
Missionary position is one of the most boring things
I've
ever done in my entire life.
Missionaries are for religious people, right? Not for sex.
Yeah, no, missionary is what you do when you go talk about Jesus, not when you're fucking.
I've said "oh God" a few times, but
yeah, well, I think I have to, but I at that point I don't think I'm thinking clearly, so I cannot be held responsible for what I say or do.
Right, in the throes of passion.
Exactly.
So, how did you get involved in the BDSM community?
It's gonna sound cliche, but 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
I read 50 Shades of Grey, and then I read the other two novels several times, and I decided this is great, but Christian Grey seems kind of like a dickwad.
Right.
How can anyone be into this? So I did some research about what BDSM actually is, and when I learned it was all about, like, consent, because if you read 50 Shades of Grey, he doesn't give a shit about her consent. And that's why I was like, I don't like you. But when I found out it was all about consent and mutual adults, like, exploring themselves to gain a better understanding of themselves and their partners, I was like, this seems pretty cool. Also, with my learning disorder, social interactions can sometimes be difficult. And with BDSM, there are set rules.
Right.
So I find that very comforting. You know, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do or exactly what I'm not supposed to do. And that's really comforting and reduces my anxiety quite a bit.
Right, with the set rules and
Oh, yes. Because if I'm not in that situation, then I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, and it creates a lot of anxiety for me, and BDSM takes all that anxiety away. Plus, it's just fun.
Yeah, and what would you recommend for someone like me who might be a little curious or whatever? I enjoyed the secretary kind of, but at the same time,
I did as well, yeah.
I know there's like events around town, but personally me, like I can't deal with like big groups and crowds. I can be on stage in front of them, but I can't be amongst, not easily. I'm very are there situations for like one-on-one encounters?
Not, well, sort of. I mean, it depends what you want.
Right.
I am on this site called FetLife, which is for people with fetishes. It's basically kinky Facebook.
Yep.
So
I may have checked it out.
So I have a lot of success on that site. Like right now, I consider myself a dominant, and I have 3 potential submissives.
Ooh.
Which is more than I've had in the past year combined.
There you go.
So, like, and I find the BDSM community very accepting of differences. Which is another reason I joined, is because they aren't judgy.
Right.
They are not judgy, because people judge them all the time for stupid crap anyway. So they're less likely to judge you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you like, hooks in your back or things like that, they might be less inclined to, think ill of somebody in a wheelchair or somebody with CP.
Yeah, like I am the least weird of people
those
they
guys
know.
are extreme, man. Like blood play, and I've seen.
Oh yeah, I saw a woman, because I went to this club, like you said, and there's certain rooms that they let you watch, and I wanted to learn, so here I am watching, and this woman got off by having her breast, like, sliced with a knife.
Ugh.
And she came, like, instantly. It was
Wow.
so freaking fascinating. And I'm like, I would not enjoy that, but good for you.
Right.
And whatever floats your boat is fine with me. So in terms of getting into the kink scene, I did it through FetLife, because it's the easiest, most successful thing for me.
Right. And then you went to events and things.
I went to the Society of Bastet, which is the local kink club. I was a member for about 6 months, but then nobody wanted to play with me, and I felt like the kid who, like, never got picked for soccer.
On the soccer team, yep.
So I was like, this is no longer fun for me, so I stopped going. But that being said, I did learn a lot from those individuals, and I'm still learning. The internet is a wonderful thing. I mean, you type in BDSM into Google, and sure, you'll find your porn, but you'll also find, like, people who have YouTube channels dedicated to teaching you about it.
Right.
Right.
It's interesting, yeah.
or blogs that talk about it, or, But yes, also porn. Lots and lots of porn. So don't look it up at work.
Good thing I don't have a job. I could
This
look it
is your
up.
job, sir.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I do things, and I've been feeling better, so I've been able to do things better. Thank God.
Yes, well, I work 5 jobs right now, so I totally understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find it overwhelming at times?
It is. I've only been on the job, like all 5 of them, for a week, and they don't really have hours, so I'm on call.
Oh.
So that's a little stressful, but I do get weekends off, so I can do fun things
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah, sweet. No, I'm really glad that you wanted to do this because it gives us a show, and I also like doing it on location here too. It's fun.
Yeah, thank you for coming to me. That made it super convenient.
Yeah, and like ironically, like just because I'm a bit of a slob, my place isn't the most accessible. I have like chairs everywhere and papers and poems and things.
How do you get around on your crutches?
Yeah,
with all the shit in the way.
I don't use them indoors, and I kind of like if I have to grab a dish of something, or especially a drink of something, I have to crawl because I'd like spill the drink. I have covered cups sometimes, but
yeah.
But yeah, I crawl a lot in my place. And
Yeah, I don't care how old you get. Sippy cups are the bomb.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Because who wants to make a mess? Nobody wants to make a mess.
No.
Which is why we should all use sippy cups.
Yeah, that's right, folks, for all ages, and you'll need them again when you're 80 anyway, so you might as well keep using them. Yeah. What do you think? Sorry, it's not a great segue here, but what do you think? Would you like to see changed about the perceptions that people have about folks with disabilities, sort of like on our spectrum? What would you like
Oh my God, there's so much. But the main one I would think was we don't seem to age for them.
Right.
We are constantly children. And I'm like, I'm not a child. I'm not. Like, and I haven't been technically for like 10 years. So, I'm not exactly new to this whole adult thing. Treat me like an adult, please. And that goes into many facets. I remember when I used to sell my book at a farmer's market, there was an older gentleman, and he came up to me, asked me what my book was about. I said it was erotica. I didn't say porn because this was a, setting of professionalism.
Right.
And he said, "Do your parents know you're writing that?" And he was like really offended. And I said, "Yes, sir." And they're both very proud of me. And he just sort of scoffed and walked away.
Yeah, it's
It's like people think that we are asexual.
Right.
And that's not necessarily true. Now, you can be asexual and disabled, but being disabled does not automatically make you asexual.
No, that's totally right. And I had a super high sex drive until I got sick, but then it's been coming back again. So I'm not.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm way healthier. Yeah. I know. I feel like a human being again.
I know, right? Great, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And so the perception of them treating us like children. What do you think is most necessary for our lives to improve? And I mean, it could be different from. And I'm gonna give you mine when you're done.
For society to change to the point where we are not pitied. Like, people look at me and they'll say things, and I've had this said to my face: if I was in a wheelchair like you, I'd kill myself.
Right.
So we need to.
Yeah, I've had that too.
We need to have a discussion about, like, being disabled isn't necessarily bad. Like, for example, not that this is true, but that whole vaccines cause autism, which they don't, just so you know.
Get your vaccinations, Vicky says.
Yes, please get your needles. It's good for you. But they're like, but it'll give my kid autism. And I'm like, okay, even if that was true, which is not, even if that was true, wouldn't you rather have an autistic child instead of a dead kid?
One would hope, yeah. This isn't the Third Reich, right? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point, and I'm gonna say for me, and because this is my chance, I haven't got a chance to say this in a while. The way things need to improve, most especially, is around us getting dignified professional opportunities, friendships, and romantic relationships. And I think if we can have, if any time you can have two of those three, you're doing pretty good. If you can have all three, man, that's a fucking kick-ass life. And
I think it's possible to have all three.
yeah.
I've got 2 out of the 3 right now. But that doesn't mean I'm not gunning for the third.
Yeah, and is the third if those submissives end up working out potentially, or
If they work out, then that is good. Like I said, it's all up in the air right now. And actually, I don't know if my dad knows that I'm a member of the BDSM community. So, surprise, Dad.
well, Vicky's dad isn't on my Facebook, but he might be on yours.
Oh yeah, he'll see this podcast
Oh, yeah.
eventually because he's on my Facebook.
Right.
But I think he's known. I just haven't told him. He's kind of a clever dude.
Yeah, it's probably not the easiest conversation to
No,
broach with your daughter, right?
It's not something you really need to have.
No.
But now that I'm out about it, like, yeah, swear Dad. But yeah, it's just. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, society needs to stop treating us like children, and we have to stop viewing disability as like this terrible thing. There are certain things that I think are terrible things, like mullets. I think the fact that you have a mullet, if somebody has a mullet, then their life must suck. But that doesn't mean, like, I want you to die.
Right.
Like,
And just for the record, some folks with mullets have asked me some of the dumbest questions I've ever heard in relation to disability. So I don't know if there's a correlation between
maybe.
mullet and inappropriate questions, or
I don't know. I know you're interviewing me, but what's the most inappropriate question you've had? We'll share. This will be fun.
How far was I able to be educated?
I've never gotten that one.
Yeah, that was from a cabbie, and I had to keep talking to him, so.
That's bad.
And I'm a little nervous sometimes, too. Folks are bigger than me, so I don't want to piss them off, so I kind of.
No, yeah.
You never know what somebody's going to do. And some of those cabbies, they drink, so you got to be careful in the fucking cab, man.
They drink while they drive?
Well, you can smell it.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen anybody with the brown paper bag or not, but
yeah, not quite that cliche yet.
No, probably in New York or something, but not quite here yet. Not quite here yet.
I think the worst thing I heard was actually something I heard secondhand. I heard it from my mother, stepmother, who heard it from the postmaster, because I'd gone down to the post office to get our mail, and at that point they didn't have an automatic door, so I was jumping in front of the door as much as a quadriplegic can jump, waving my arms about trying to get someone's attention. So I went back and I said, I'm sorry, Mom, I couldn't get the mail. And she went down to the post office and said, my daughter sat outside, how come nobody got the door? And the postmaster happened to live like 2 doors down from us, and he said, every day I see Vicky go up and down the sidewalk in her wheelchair, and I think, quote, thank God that's not me.
Yeah, and thank God you're not him.
I know, it must be hard being that much physical.
Yeah, no, that's... yeah, I know people... you can... Yeah, I mean, I don't get it, and it's like... Yeah, that's always been my response when people are like, oh, it's a shame you're disabled. And I say, well, it's better than being you, if it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, or like, if I was, I've never had a chance to say this yet, but like I've heard people say, if I was disabled, I'd kill myself. And I want to go, well, if I was as ignorant as you, I'd kill myself.
Right, exactly.
But I haven't actually said that yet, because I'm not that mean.
No, and you got to be careful who you're dealing with, too, because there's going to be somebody... violent tendencies or something.
No, these are all old ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Thus far.
Yeah, you could take them.
Yeah, I probably could.
If you had to.
If I had to. Not that I'm...
Yeah, this show does not... No.
I do not advocate beating up old ladies.
No,
Do not do that.
Yeah, this show does not advocate abusing the elderly.
No,
It's not
no.
what we're trying to do here.
No.
But here's a question I just thought of actually. If you had the choice, and you could not have your disability at all, would you?
That's a very difficult question because my life right now revolves around disability.
Right.
All my jobs are disability based. So I want to say yes, but then I have no idea what my life would be like. And you know what? I'd rather stick with this and be okay than have a life that like could possibly totally suck.
Right.
So for convenience sake, yeah, I'd like working legs and to have like working arms. But no, I like my life the way it is right now, and I wouldn't want to change it, and giving up my disability would completely change it. So at the moment, I'm going to have to say no.
Yeah, and just for any listeners that might be curious, I think what I would say, and this changes sometimes, but I think I would say I would choose to have had it and had the experience, but I would like the chance to see what it's like without it. It's not even, for me, it's not even the CP and the mobility and stuff like that, or even the coordination, but it's things like my like chronic urinary tract troubles and the sleeping troubles, which I know are part of the CP because the lesion on my brain, and I think there's a big correlation between mental health and CP because it's not just that
There is.
It's not just that our lives are difficult, because I mean that's part of it, but it's also because there's fucking damage in the brain, man, right?
Yeah, I'm like, I have brain damage.
Yeah, and
It's traumatic birth injuries.
yep, yep.
I came into this world like not the best, healthy, happy baby. And that's okay. Because I think I turned out pretty badass.
Yeah, and something I want to, and I mean, it could be different for you, but if I have to say from my own experience, because I think it probably contributed, if weed becomes accessible to you, just be careful, because I think I did too much, and I think that caused a part of the breakdown I had, because my brain and body were not.
Well, I mean, I take it 3 times a day, but it's
You're
medical grade and it is prescription. I don't abuse it.
And you're fine, and you haven't.
I'm fine.
No psychosis.
No
or anything.
psychosis, no.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes if I don't eat and then take my bedtime meds,
Right.
then there'll be some weird stuff. But if I have a snack before I take it, I'm fine.
Right.
So if all I gotta do to counteract that is like have a cookie, like that's fine.
Yeah, and I have tried CBD oil, and I seem to be tolerating that a bit
Well,
better.
CBD
Still get a
doesn't
kick.
have any psychoactive. THC is the one that makes your brain all weird.
Right.
CBD doesn't do that.
Yeah, and I think in my case, like I was just doing too much. So
Yes. Moderation is key, folks.
yeah, that's right.
For like all the things.
Yeah, I heard of a lady who died from drinking too much water. So I mean,
yeah,
even
like
water.
moderation is important.
Even water. Is there anything you'd like to add to this experience before I ask the final question?
What do you think I would like to add? Well, can I do a shameless plug?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so if you want to get in touch with me, you can go to Victoria Levack. That's LEVACK.com. And that has all my personal information to get in touch with me. It also has my blog that I try to write once a week, but don't always do. But at least every 2 weeks. And it also has any events that I've been in the news. They're all there. I'm hoping that if your film comes out somewhere digitally, that I can put a link for people to buy it there. But yeah, if you just go to that website, you'll get all my info. And like I said before, I'm always happy to answer any question. I don't care how embarrassing it is. I once had a toddler ask me how I pooped. So once you do that, there's really no going back. So nothing really shocks me anymore. So feel free to ask me anything.
And I would tell that toddler, with difficulty for a while, but now that my brain and body are functioning better, I'm pooping much easier.
Yes, pooping is hard.
Yeah,
You should just do a whole segment on poop.
on poop, a poop show.
Yes, I would very much like to come on the poop show.
Pooping ain't easy, but it's necessary.
It is.
Things was getting hard. My bum was too hairy.
Exactly. See, we could make a whole song. It's great.
Yeah. No, that's great, Vicky, and I think this has been a great interview. In old 1942 there,
Thank you.
if he hasn't fallen asleep or busy playing chess yet, chiding me for not being prepared because I was watching the ball game when he came in. I was up
jeez.
all night writing these quotes. Well, not all night, but I did do some prep. So
I did no prep, so you're better than me.
yeah, you didn't have, right? Because I thought the questions that I'd ask you'd have a pretty good handle on,
Yeah,
right?
you're right. I don't really care what people ask me, and I'll just give them an honest answer.
Yeah. So speaking of honest answers, what do you think the meaning of life is?
Well, if you want to get scientifical, I don't know if that's even a word. Scientific, it's procreation. We were put on this earth to make babies. Because that's what all species are supposed to do. But if you want to get, not scientific, it's, like I said before, to make the world, if not better than when you got here, at least don't make it any worse.
I think our politicians and large-scale business executives could take something from that. And I have to say, some people never get beyond the baby stage, unfortunately. But I've really enjoyed this interview, and I'm going to close out like I always do, and tell you, look yourselves in the mirror every day, especially when you're feeling low. Give yourself that Ric Flair, woo, and tell yourself,
Yeah.
I'm the greatest of all time. I know we are. Thanks, Vicky.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Toodles.